श्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्ष विषीदन्तमिदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनः श्रीभगवानुवाच कुतस्त्वा कश्मलमिदं विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्यजुष्टमस्वर्ग्यम् अकीर्तिकरमर्जुन क्लैब्यं स्मगमं पार्थ न त्वयि उपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्तो उत्तिष्ठ परन्तप अर्जुन उवाच कथं भीष्ममहं साङ्ख्ये द्रोणं च मधुसूदनः इषुभिः प्रतियोत्स्यामि पूजाराहरिसूदनः गुरो न हत्वा हि महानुभावान् श्रेयं भोक्तुं वैक्षिमपीह लोके हत्वार्थकामांस्तु गुरूनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान् न चैतद्विद्मो कतरन्नो गरीयहो यद्वा जयेमे यदि वा नो जयेयो यान्येव हत्वा न जिजीविषामास् देव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नं न हि प्रपश्यामि ममानुपद्यात् इच्छोकम् उच्छोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमा वसपत्नं समृद्धं राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम् सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ऋषिकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तपः न योत्सयति गोविन्दं त्वा तूष्णीं बहुवः तमुवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारतः सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यान्वन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे कथासु न कथासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पण्डिताः न त्वेऽहं जातु नासं न त्वें नेमे जनाधिपः न चैव भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परं देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जराः तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्देहस्तत्र न मुह्यति मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्णसुखदुःखाः आगमापायिनो नित्यास्तान् तितिक्षस्व भारतः यं हि नो व्यथयन्त्येते पुरुषं पुरुषश्रव समदुःखं सुखं धीरं सोमृतत्वाय कल्पते नासतो विद्यते भावो नाभावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टवन्तः तनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धिः येनं सर्वविदं ततं विनाशमव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति अन्तवन्तम् इमे देहा नित्यशोक्ता शरीरिणः अनाशिनो अप्रमेयस्य तस्मात् युद्धस्व भारत येनं वेति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभोऽथो न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यं शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे वेदा विनाशिनं नित्यं येनम् अजमव्ययम् कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ कां गति यान्ति हन्तिकं वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयान्ति नवानि देहि नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेद्यहन्त्यापहो न शोषयति मारुतः अच्छेद्यो अयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थानो रचलोऽयं सनातनः अव्यक्तो अयम् अचिन्त्यो अयम् अविकार्यो अयम् उच्यते तस्माद् एवं विदित्वैनं नानुं शोचितुमर्हसि अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचितुमर्हसि जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवो ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मात् पर्यार्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि अव्यक्तधीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारतः अव्यक्तानिधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारतः तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याधियुद्धात् श्रेयोन्यते क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम् अथ चेत्त्वम् इमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि तथा स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययां सम्भावितस्य च कीर्तिर्मरणादतिरिच्यते भयाद्रणादुपरतं मत्स्यन्ते त्वां महारथः येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम् अवाश्य वादांश बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहितः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरुन्नु किम् हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि एषा ते भीता साङ्ख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे त्विमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि नेहाभिर्गमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात् व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिरेकेह कुरु नन्दनः बहुशाखाश्च अनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनां यामिमां पुष्पिता वाचं प्रपद्यन्त विपश्चितः वेदवादरतः पार्थ नान्यद् अस्ति निवादिनः कामात्मानः स्वर्गपरः जन्म कर्म फलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते त्रैगुण्यविषया भेदा निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान् यावनार्तवोदपाने सर्वथा सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूमा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जयः सिद्ध्यो समूहो भूत्वा समत्वं योग इच्छते दूरेण ह्यवरः कर्म बुद्धियोगात् धनञ्जयः बुद्धो शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणाफलहेतवः बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृतदुष्कृते तस्मात् योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम् कर्मजां कर्म कर्मजां बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ताः पदं गच्छन्त्यम् अनाव्ययम् यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च श्रुतिविप्रतिपन्ना ते यदा स्थास्यति निश्चला समाधावचला बुद्धिस्तथा योगमवाप्स्यसि अर्जुन उवाच स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधिस्तस्य केशवः स्थितधिं किं प्रभाषेत किमासीत व्रजेत किम् श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रजाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्य दोच्यते दुःखेषु उद्विग्नमनः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते यः सर्वत्र अभिस्नेहस्तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभं नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठितः यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीन सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठितः विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्ज्यं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरतिं प्रसवं मनः तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्तासीत मत्परः वशे हि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठितः ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषुपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधः भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति रागद्वेषविमुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिर्योष्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेष्टो याशुः बुद्धिर्परिवतिष्ठते नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावनः न चाभावयतः शान्तिरशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम् इन्द्रियाणामीचरतां यन्मनोनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावम् इमाम्बसि तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठितः या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागृति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुने आपूर्ण्यमानमचलं प्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिवाप्नोति न कामकामी विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान् पुमाश्चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति येषां भ्रामिस्थितिः पार्था नैनं प्राप्य विमुह्यति स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे साङ्ख्ययोगो नाम द्वितीयोऽध्यायः हरि ओम् तत्सत् हरि ओम् तत्सत् हरि ओम् तत्सत् सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु
Okay, thank you, Ashok.
Thanks, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna, Rahul and Kiran, how are you?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'm
Hare
doing good, Prabhuji. How about you?
Yeah, good, good. So, I saw a few people yesterday at the Holi festival. I saw Ashok, Vinanath, Sirisha. So, rest of you could not come there? It was fun.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I couldn't make it.
Okay.
I tried to come. Okay, I couldn't make it.
Prabhuji, I was there. I was volunteering.
Oh, you were there?
At the
Where
color
were you
booth.
there?
At the color booth, Prabhuji. I was volunteering
Okay,
in
the
the
other end.
morning to like about mid-afternoon.
Okay, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't be there, Prabhu. Like my wife went to India yesterday, and like we are also going. I'll be going on Wednesday. It's my mother-in-law's first 1-year death anniversary.
Okay. Shada ceremony. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good, good.
So I'll be gone for like just 10 days. So
10
2
days.
Sundays I won't be here.
Okay.
I'll be back on 3rd.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Prabhu, I was also there for 3 hours.
Oh, you were there?
I saw, I think your wife, but I I'm checking for you. You are not there.
I was there. I was volunteering at the food booth. I was collecting cash.
Okay.
I was cashier.
Okay.
Yeah. That's an easy job. You don't have to work hard like Ashok. Ashok did hard work. He fried pakodas.
Okay.
So, yeah, I thought since I cannot do that, cashier is easy.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
I think from next time onwards, I'm comfortable frying pakodas, Prabhuji.
Okay, so looks like this is the first time you're doing.
First time I did.
Okay.
So
Looks
I
like-
just followed for 30 minutes the other Prabhujis.
Okay.
Then I got the hang of it.
Okay. Don't tell your wife. Otherwise,
She's listening.
you'll have to fry pakodas every day at home. Yeah. Okay. Swati, what about you? You missed the fun.
Prabhuji, I went to the temple on the day of Holi when it was back in few days back. But
Okay.
yesterday I couldn't. I had another commitment to go to.
Okay. Okay. Yep. So let's get started. So what did we discuss last week? Last week we didn't have class, but prior to that,
2.11.
2.11. Yeah, that's an easy answer. Yeah. So what did we discuss? Any points from that discussion 2.11?
The song starts from 2.11, Prabhuji. Krishna starts speaking the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. Okay. Krishna starts speaking Bhagavad Gita from 2.11. Yeah. So what did Krishna say in 2.11?
He basically chastises Arjuna that he's a fool, and he's blunt. That is one point I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Krishna becomes very straightforward. He does not try to avoid any unpleasantness, or he does not try to avoid any, any harshness. So being very straightforward, he calls spade a spade, and he tells Arjuna, you are a fool. You have been talking like a learned person, but you are a fool. Okay.
Prabhuji, we also had discussion about why Krishna is smiling to Arjuna,
Yeah, that's
and
a good.
that he gets a chance to start Gita. That's why he smiles.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Yeah. And else, what else?
Prabhuji also explained about Guhya, Guhyatara, and Guhyatama. Confidential, more confidential, and most confidential knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Confidential is the difference that body is different from the soul, knowing that difference. And more confidential is besides the soul, there is super soul, and most confidential is to know the relationship between Bhagwan and living entities.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Anything else? And we also, yeah, go ahead.
We also had a discussion about sinning, the topic of sinning, like how to overcome it, or how to see or sin. So Swati Mataji mentioned that whatever work we do, like we offer it to Bhagwan Krishna. Yeah, that was one discussion.
Okay. I didn't get that. What was that point about sin?
Yeah, after that, I asked a question like we unknowingly sin, like we maybe like sinning while performing our job, let's say, like
Oh,
being
yeah,
a
yeah.
software employee. Yeah.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned one of the verse from maybe 18th chapter. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
1866. Sarva dharman parityajya.
right. Yeah.
Sharanam raja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Mokshayishyami vachuchaha. So Krishna says, if you surrender to me, I will take care of all your sinful reactions. From millions of lifetimes, we might have committed so many sins and we might have accumulated so many sinful reactions. So Krishna says, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuchaha. If you surrender to me, I will take care of all your sinful activities. So with our own efforts, we cannot get rid of the papa karma or punya karma. Both are binding. Papa karma, punya karma, both are binding. So with our own efforts, we cannot make it zero. So only when we surrender to Krishna, he will take care of all your punya karma and papa karma, both. Okay, that's a good point. And we also learned how chastisement is a blessing. When a guru chastises a disciple, it's a blessing. Most of the times, people take chastisement very personally and they take it in a negative way. And we have seen how in the case of Prabhupada also, his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, how he chastised Prabhupada. Prabhupada was supporting Gandhi before he took Krishna consciousness path very seriously. He was supporting Gandhi in freedom fighting. And when Prabhupada met his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada was telling him that freedom fighting is a priority. This is the first and foremost job we need to work on before doing anything else. Before talking about religion or spirituality, we must achieve freedom for the country first. Only when people are free to do whatever they can, then we can talk about religion and spirituality. That was Prabhupada's perspective. Then his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he chastised him, saying that your freedom fighting and all those things are temporary, because any movement in the politics or in the name of freedom, these are all temporary. So the government keeps changing and the ruling people keep changing. But what is urgent for the mankind is inquiring about higher truth, inquiring about God, knowing who you are, knowing the purpose of your life. So then he chastised Prabhupada, and Prabhupada took it as a blessing. And with his blessings, he was able to come to the Western countries and teach Krishna's message. And now we can see so many temples across the world, so many devotees practicing Krishna consciousness. And also we discussed an example of Advaita Acharya in the Panchatattva. Advaita Acharya is one of the characters who is none other than Lord Shiva's incarnation. So he always wanted to be chastised because he considered chastisement is a blessing. He always wanted to be chastised. So purposefully, he used to talk about impersonalism in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he hears about impersonalism, he used to chastise Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya used to like that. He took it as a blessing. So when we have in our life, when a spiritual master chastises us, it's a blessing. Anybody, spiritual master or an elderly person, when they chastise us, that means they're trying to teach a lesson to us. They try to teach something good and something beneficial to us. Okay, so and Krishna said, you are lamenting what is not worthy of lamentation. Asocyan anvasochatvam prajna vadamscha bhashase gatasun agatasumscha nanashochanti pandita. So Arjuna, you are talking like a learned person. While speaking those learned words, you are lamenting for what is not worthy of lamentation. Because a learned person means he has the 3 levels of knowledge: the guhya, guhyatara, and guhyatama. Confidential, more confidential, and most confidential. So if a person is talking like a learned person, then he should have the minimum knowledge of the soul. He should know that he is not the body, but the soul. So Krishna said, you are talking like a learned person, but a learned person never laments like what you are doing. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. And then Krishna starts giving Atma Jnana, the knowledge of the soul. So we'll start discussing 2.12 today. Okay. Chapter 2, Shloka 12. Natve Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Tvevaham Jatu Nasam
Natvevaham Jatunasam
Natvam Neme Janadipaha
Natvam neme janadipaha
Achaiva na bhavishyamaha
Nachaiva na bhavyamamaha
Sarve Vayamadha Param.
Sarve
Sarve
Vayamata
vayamata
Param.
param.
Okay, the word for word meaning, synonyms. Na, never. Tu, but. Eva, certainly. Aham, I. Jatu, at any time. Na, did not. Asam, exist. Na, not. Tvam, you. Na, not. Ime, all these. Janadipa, kings. Na, never. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Na, not. Bhavishyamaha, shall exist. Sarve Vayam, all of us. Ata Param, hereafter. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace is E. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Okay, now we can repeat this verse. Rahul, you want to recite the shloka?
Natvevaham Jatunasam
Natveham Jatu Nasham
Natvam Neme Janadipaha
Natvam
Natvam
Neme
neme
Janadipaha
janadipaha
Nachaiva na Bhavishyamaha
Nachaiva na
Bhavishyamaha
bhavishyamaha
Sarve Vayamatha Param
Sarve Vayam
vayamata
Param.
param.
Okay, Aparna?
Natvevaham jatunasham
Natvevaham jatunasam
natve neme janadipaha
Natve neme janadipaha
nachaivana bhavishyamaha
Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha
sarve vayam ata param.
Sarve.
Sarve vayamata param.
Okay, Venugopal.
Natvevaham jatunasham.
Natvevaham
jatunasham.
Natvam neme janadipaha.
Natvam neme janadipaha.
Na chaiva na bhavishyama.
Chaiva
Bhavishyamaha.
Sarve vayam atah param.
Sarve
vayam atah param.
Okay, Swati.
Natvevaham jatunasham.
Natvehaham jatunasam.
Natvam neme janadipaha.
Natvam neme janadipaha.
Na chaiva na bhavishyamaha.
Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha.
Sarve vayam atah param.
Sarve vayam atah param.
Okay, Kiran.
Natveham jatunasham.
Natvevaham jatunasam.
jatunasam.
Natvam neme janadipaha.
Natvam
Neme
neme
janadipaha.
Nachaivana bhavishyamaha.
Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha.
Sarve vayam atah param.
Sarve vayam atah param.
Okay, Ashok.
Natveham jatunasam.
Natvevaham jatunasam.
Natvam neme janadipaha.
Natvam
Natvam
neme
neme
janadipaha.
janadipaha.
Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha.
Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha.
Sarve vayam atah param.
Sarve
Sarve vayam atah
param.
param.
Okay, Vinanath, are you able to recite?
Yes, sure, Prabhu. Yeah, I've reached home.
Okay.
Natvevaham jatunasam.
Natvehaham
jatunasam.
jatunasam.
Natvam neme janadipaha.
Natvam
Natvam
neme
neme
janadipaha.
janadipaha.
Na chaiva na bhavishyamaha.
Nachaiva
na bhavishyamaha.
Sarve vayam atah param.
Sarve
Sarve vayam atah param.
Okay, Naresh, I think you are still driving, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm driving.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay.
Small doubt, Prabhu. If
Yeah.
a word is ending with H and a dot behind this, how to pronounce that one?
If a word is ending with H,
And there is a dot below that word, below that letter.
Janadipata.
Janadi. Is that Janadi?
Janadipaha. Janadipaha. Yeah. Janadipaha. Natvam neme janadipaha.
So if a dot is there below that one, it means we need to add a to that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So, and you see a line above A, that's why you say janadipaha. And because there is a dot below H, janadipaha, you add A there. Okay. So there is a Sanskrit pronunciation guide towards the end of Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
Yeah. There are examples given, and it is explained how to pronounce, all these letters. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's read the purport. Yeah, translation. Now, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings. Nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Purport. In the Vedas, in the Katha Upanishad, as well as in the Shvetashvara Upanishad, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities in terms of their different situations according to individual work and reaction of work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is also, by his plenary portions, live in the heart of every living entity. Only saintly persons who can see within and without the same Supreme Lord can actually attain to perfect and eternal peace. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetanam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman tamatmastam enu pashyati dhirah tesham shanti shashvati netaresham. This is from Katha Upanishad. The same Vedic truth given to Arjuna is given to all persons in the world who pose themselves as very learned, but factually have but a poor fund of knowledge. The Lord says clearly that he himself, Arjuna, and all the kings who are assembled on the battlefield are eternally individual beings, and that the Lord is eternally the maintainer of the individual living entities, both in their condition and in their liberated situations. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, okay, let me share the screen. If somebody is following my screen. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Individual Person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associate, and all the kings assembled there are living eternal persons, or individual eternal persons. It is not that they did not exist as individuals in the past, and it is not that they will not remain eternal persons. Their individuality existed in the past, and their individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation for anyone. The Mayavadi theory that after liberation, the individual soul separated by the covering of Maya or illusion will merge into impersonal Brahman and lose its individual existence is not supported herein by Lord Krishna, the Supreme Authority. Nor is the theory that we only think of individuality in the conditioned state supported herein. Krishna clearly says herein that in the future also, the individuality of the Lord and others, as it is confirmed in the Upanishads, will continue eternally. This statement of Krishna's is authoritative because Krishna cannot be subject to illusion. If individuality were not a fact, then Krishna would not have stressed it so much, even for the future. The Mayavadis may argue that the individuality spoken by Krishna is not spiritual but material. Even accepting the argument that the individuality is material, then how can one distinguish Krishna's individuality? Krishna affirms his individuality in the past and confirms his individuality in the future also. He has confirmed his individuality in many ways, and impersonal Brahman has been declared to be subordinate to him. Krishna has maintained spiritual individuality all along. If he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul in individual consciousness, then his Bhagavad Gita has no value as authoritative scripture. A common man with all other four defects, with all the four defects of human frailty, is unable to teach that which is worth hearing. The Gita is above such literature. No mundane book compares with Bhagavad Gita. When one accepts Krishna as an ordinary man, the Gita loses all importance. The Mayavadi argues that the plurality mentioned in this verse is conventional and that it refers to body. But previous to this verse, such a bodily conception is already condemned. After condemning the bodily conception of the living entities, how is it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition on the body again? Therefore, individuality is maintained on spiritual grounds and is thus confirmed by great acharyas like Sri Ramanuja and others. It is clearly mentioned in many places in the Gita that the spiritual individuality is understood by those who are devotees of the Lord. Those who are envious of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead have no bona fide access to the great literature. The non-devotee's approach to the teachings of Gita is something like that of a bee licking on a bottle of honey. One cannot have a taste of honey unless one opens the bottle. Similarly, the mysticism of Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees, and no one else can taste it. And it is stated in the 4th chapter of the book, nor can the Gita be touched by persons who envy the very existence of the Lord. Therefore, the Mayavadi explanation of the Gita is a most misleading representation of the whole truth. Lord Chaitanya has forbidden us to read commentations made by the Mayavadis and warns that one who takes to such an understanding of the Mayavadi philosophy loses all power to understand the real mystery of the Gita. If individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of teaching by the Lord. The plurality of the individual soul and the Lord is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed by the Vedas as above mentioned. Okay, so here in this shloka, Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipa nachaivana bhavishyamaha sarve vayam ataparam. So Krishna is establishing, for the first time, Krishna is establishing two things here. One is eternality, and the second one is individuality. Krishna is establishing these two facts, individuality and eternality. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these king's men. And they will never cease to exist in future. So there are many points that we can understand from this shloka. First and foremost thing is, we are eternal. Okay, we are eternal souls. We are not the temporary body. We are eternal souls. That's good news. There's no destruction. There's no destruction. It is not temporary. The life is not temporary. We are not temporary. It is eternal. And after all, everyone wants that. Everyone wants life to continue forever, and nobody wants life to come to an end. So the good news is it is eternal, actually. It is eternal. The life is eternal. Human life is eternal. So Lord is eternal and we are eternal. And the very definition of eternality means there's no beginning and no end. So there are different interpretations. Sometimes people say that in the beginning, Lord was alone. And then he got bored. He was alone and he got bored. Then he decided to create the living entities. So that is not true. If he decided to create the living entities, that means living entities are not eternal. But here Krishna is clearly saying never was there a time where I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kingsmen. So everyone is eternal. Lord is eternal, we are also eternal. So both Lord Krishna and the living entities coexist eternally. All of us coexist simultaneously with Krishna eternally. It is not like Krishna, created all of us. Krishna created, number of souls at some point. No, it's not true. So nobody created the living entities and nobody created the Lord also. And the living entities have the same quality as the Lord. Qualitatively, both are same, but quantitatively, they are different. So living entities are minute and God is infinite. We are minute and God is infinite. God is Vibhu, we are Anu. So qualitatively, both are equal. We have the same qualities as Krishna. Qualitatively, we are same as Krishna. But quantitatively, we are different. We are Anu, we are minute, and Krishna is Vibhu. He is infinite. So, in the purport, Prabhupada discusses the Mayavad philosophy and how different schools of spirituality interpret this concept of eternality and individuality. So there are three schools basically. The three different schools are Advaita, Dvaita, and Vishishtadvaita. Advaita, Dvaita, and Vishishtadvaita. Advaita means, in Sanskrit, whenever you add the alphabet A, it's a negation. So Dvaita means two. Advaita means no two. There are no two entities. So the Advaita philosophy teaches that there are no two entities. There is only one entity. Advaita philosophy teaches there's only one entity. So we'll see what are those two entities and one entity. And Dvaita philosophy means two entities. Vishishtadvaita is a different flavor of Advaita. So we will discuss that also in a bit. So let's look at what Advaita philosophy teaches. Now here in this shloka, Krishna says, Lord and the living entities both are individual. But Advaita philosophy teaches that there is no individuality. The living entities are individual only in the material world. And after death, if somebody achieves liberation, they go and merge into the spiritual, impersonal Brahman, and they lose their individuality. They lose their individuality. And they become one with God. So Advaita philosophy teaches oneness with God. It teaches oneness with God. In other words, they say that living entities are same as God. Jiva is same as God. Jiva is same as God. And their philosophy is that Jiva is same as God, but in the conditioned state, Jiva is contaminated by the three modes of material nature. That's why they have their individuality in the material world. But when they achieve liberation and go and merge in the impersonal Brahman, they lose their individuality and become one with God. Or to put it in simple words, they are saying that there's no difference between living entities and God. Both are one and same. Both are one and same, and God has been contaminated. That's why God takes birth in the material world and becomes a jiva. And after liberation, that jiva merges into the impersonal Brahman and becomes one with God. So first of all, if that jiva in the conditioned state, if that jiva was originally God, and because of contamination, he fell into the material world, and then in the material world he is individual. So the first argument to refute that philosophy is that if it is God, then how is he subject to contamination? If he is God, how is he subject to contamination? The God is not subject to contamination. So that is Advaita philosophy. So to remember easily, Advaita philosophy teaches oneness with God. Okay, they say that both God and Jiva are same. Now, Vishishta Advaita philosophy, they say that they are different from God. Jivas are different from God. They say that Jivas are completely different from God. And that is also not true. Because we just discussed, qualitatively, we are same. Qualitatively, Jiva is same as God. Qualitatively, Jiva is same as God. All the living entities, all of us, we have the same qualities as God. We have the similar form, two-handed form, 2 hands, 2 legs. And Krishna also has the same form. Even in the Bible, it is mentioned, right? God is made in the image of God. Sorry, man is made in the image of God. Man is made in the image of God. So that means God should be like us. When we are made in the image of God, God should also have a form like us. 2 hands, 2 legs. So qualitatively, we are same. We also have feelings. God has feelings. Krishna has feelings. We have emotions. Krishna has emotions. So whatever we see in the material world, it is there in the spiritual world. Everything, every aspect of our life, whatever we do, whatever we see, it is there in spiritual world also. But in the material world, we see it in a perverted reflection. So qualitatively, we are same. So what that Vishishta Advaita philosophy is teaching, that jivas are different from God, that is also not correct. So that is Vishishta Advaita. Now we learnt about Advaita and Vishishta Advaita. Now there is the third philosophy or the third school, that is Dvaita philosophy. Dvaita philosophy teaches there are two entities. God and Jiva, both are separate and both are individual. Both are qualitatively same, but quantitatively different. So if somebody asks, is Jiva same as God? What should be our answer?
No.
No.
Yes, but qualitatively yes, but quantitatively no.
I am only asking yes or no.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Okay, somebody is saying yes, somebody is saying no.
We just said Jiva and
Yes.
God are
So
separate.
these are the options. These are the options.
Abhi says yes.
Option A, yes. Option B, no. Option C, all of the above. Option D, none of the above.
No.
Abhi says yes.
Abhi is saying yes. Okay.
Option C probably.
Option C,
It's A and B, right? Yes and no.
okay. Vinana and Sirisha, what do you say?
I would say no, we are not same as God.
We are not same as God. Okay. Sirisha, you just finished your masters. You must have become expert in solving these multiple choice questions.
I would say yes.
Yes. Okay. Swati?
No, they're different.
Okay. Okay, Ashok?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. Aparna?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay. Okay, very good. Yeah. Yes, Rahul and Aparna. Yes and no. The answer is yes and no. We are qualitatively same as God. That's why if somebody asks, is Jiva same as God? Yes. Yes, qualitatively same as God. No, quantitatively both are different. Okay, so that is Dvaita philosophy. So it is, in other words, it is also called Achintya Beda Abeda. Achintya means inconceivable. Beda means different. Abeda means oneness. Abeda means like same or oneness. So we are simultaneously one and different with God. The jivas are simultaneously one and different with God. We are one with God means we are qualitatively one with God. And simultaneously we are different from God. That means we are quantitatively different. We are Anu, Lord is Vibhu. Okay. So these are the three different schools: Advaita, Dvaita, and Vishishtadvaita. So Shankaracharya taught Advaita philosophy, but towards the end of his life, he wrote Bhajagovinda, and then he realized that God and Jivas are separate. And then he asked everyone to worship Krishna, Bhajagovindam. He wrote Bhajagovindam shloka. But later on, the successors of Shankara, of that philosophy, Shankaracharya's philosophy, they ignored his Bhajagovindam, and then they carried forward the impersonal philosophy, the Mayavad philosophy or Advaita philosophy. And so Shankaracharya is the prominent acharya in that school of Advaita philosophy. And Vishishtadvaita philosophy, Ramanujacharya is the prominent acharya. And Dvaita philosophy, Madhvacharya is the prominent acharya. So we are following. ISKCON is following Dvaita philosophy, the philosophy established by Madhvacharya, and especially it is called Brahma Madhva Gaudiya. You put Gaudiya aside, but if you just remember Brahma Madhva, this is coming from Brahma himself. This lineage is coming from Brahma himself. That's why this is Brahma, and the prominent acharya in this philosophy is Madhvacharya. That's why this is Brahma Madhva philosophy. Yeah. So we are simultaneously one and different with God. So any points on that? Any questions?
Quick question, Prabhu.
Yeah.
So are we qualitatively same even in a conditioned state, impure state of mind?
Qualitatively, are we same in the conditioned state?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. In a perverted state. Because we have all the emotions, all the feelings, all the qualities that Lord has, even in the conditioned state, but in a perverted state. The way we use our mind, the way we use our anger, the way we use our different emotions. They are there. They are there even in God also. But how God uses, or how the liberated souls in the spiritual world, how they use those emotions and how we use those emotions or different feelings is completely different. The liberated souls use these emotions to serve God, to please God. Whereas in the conditioned state, in the material world, we use those feelings to serve ourselves, to please ourselves for our own happiness. Or we show those feelings towards other living entities, like our children, wife, husband, family members. I mean, we are not saying those are bad, but in the long in the bigger picture of the or in the grand scheme of spirituality, that's not the real that's not the real purpose of showing those emotions or using those emotions and feelings for. So yes, yeah, we have those qualities even in the material world, in the conditioned state, but in a perverted reflection. Yeah.
Prabhu, if you see the last line of the purport, Prabhupada says, the plurality of the individual soul and the Lord is an eternal fact. So whenever we say plurality, right, so those are different. They're not the same. Isn't it? In the sense, Jiva and God are separate.
Yeah, they're separate. That's what we are discussing, right? We are separate.
Right, but
the Lord is also
individual.
Plurality.
But we are saying that yes and no, in the sense, since we have the qualities, we are saying the same. Like we are saying,
yeah, since we have the qualities, same qualities at God, we are saying yes, we are same as God, but quantitatively we are different. That's why we are different.
Okay.
Yeah. And even before you go to this concept, that qualitatively, quantitatively, even before you go to that concept, first of all, the individuality, Lord has his own individual identity, and Jivas, we have our own individual identity.
Correct.
After liberation, we don't go and merge with God and lose our identity. So that is what Mayavadis preach, that after liberation, we go and merge with the impersonal Brahman and lose our identity.
Prabhuji, over here in the first paragraph of the purport, they say that Supreme Personality of Godhead is also by his planetary positions alive in the heart of every living entity.
Yeah. Paramatma, he is alive in all the living entities as Paramatma, super soul.
Super soul.
Yeah.
But the soul is different, but it has the same qualities as Paramatma.
Yeah.
So when we are saying that Bhagwan is different from us, he's an individual, are we saying that the qualities of him and the quality of our soul is same?
Yeah, qualities are same.
Qualities.
For example, talking about soul and super soul, right? So Krishna explains about soul in chapter 2, and he explains about super soul in chapter 13. Okay, so in chapter 13, there is a shloka where Krishna says, I exist in every living entity's heart as a super soul, and I exist as a permitter and overseer, Upadrashta and Anumanta. And Krishna also says, I know about all the bodies of all the living entities, whereas you only know about your body. So the soul, in every living entity's heart, there is soul and super soul in the heart region. The soul is aware of what is happening within this body only. Kshetra. This is called Kshetra. This body is called Kshetra. And the soul is the knower of this body. Kshetrajna. Kshetrajna means one who knows about this Kshetra. So the soul knows about only this particular Kshetra, this body. Whereas super soul knows not only about this body, but he knows about all other bodies. What's happening in your body, what's happening in Venugopal's body, what's happening in Rahul's body. He knows, he's cognizant of what's happening in everyone's body. He is the Parama Kshetrajna. He is the ultimate Kshetrajna. Knows about what's happening in everyone's body. Knows about what's happening in everybody's body means what they are thinking, how they are feeling, what they are doing. That's what Krishna means. Doesn't mean that knowing about what's happening in the body means what you are eating. Are you eating gulab jamuns today or laddus today? Not that. What you are thinking and what you are feeling, what you are doing, what your inclinations are, what your desires are. So Krishna knows about what is happening in everyone's body. Whereas as a soul, we know about only our body. So here, the task is same, right? Or the function is same. Knowing about the body, the function is same. Soul is doing the same function and super soul is also doing the same function. But the quantity is different. Soul is only aware of what's happening in this body, whereas super soul is aware of what's happening in everyone's body. That's the magnitude of super soul's ability. So another analogy that we can give is ocean and drop of ocean. So drop of ocean has the same quality as the ocean. It is salty and liquid and several other qualities. But quantitatively, it is different. The water drop is minute and ocean is gigantic, infinite.
But Prabhuji, we can't say that the drop, when it mixes with the ocean, it is the ocean, like it's the individual soul getting merged into the Brahma Jyoti. We can't equate this to that, right? A drop and an ocean and individual soul and Brahma Jyoti.
Yeah, when the drop merges into the ocean, you're saying it loses its identity, and can't we equate it with impersonal philosophy, where they merge with impersonal Brahman and lose their identity? The difference is, now at any point of time, you can take out one drop of water from the ocean. Whereas what impersonal philosophers say that after you achieve impersonal realization, after you merge into impersonal Brahman, you lose your identity and you will never come back as an individual. You will never come back as an individual. Yeah.
So according to them, there is no reincarnation then.
No. There is reincarnation. They believe in reincarnation. So what they are saying about merging in impersonal Brahman and losing identity is at the time of liberation. And that liberation can take place after millions of lifetimes. Yeah, they also know that. Yeah, that they believe in incarnation and yeah.
Prabhuji, my question was, are there any other schools, Prabhuji? apart from Advaita.
Three itself
Vishishta.
is very confusing. So you need more?
Yeah.